Africa, Gauteng motorists have seen the system near collapse. With a 20 billion rand debt, they are struggling to repay a growing billing of unpaid e-toll bills. The Gauteng panel's review panel will spend several months reviewing the system and heard submission from parties both opposed and in support of e-tolls.
Transport Minister Dipuo Peters made a passionate argument in support of electronic tolling and for their current user-pay system of charging for the service. But growing political opposition to e-toll has left her perturbed.
I would believe that the Gauteng province is, in particular at a political level, being the African National Congress, is better placed to actually answer the change of approach and the change of mind with regard to this particular project. The change of mindset or the change of scenario in Gauteng, I would not know what led to that. 15 years of the 20 years of this government, the present chairperson of the ANC, Comrade Paul Mashatile, was part of the Executive Council in Gauteng. The Gauteng government has not as yet informed me personally on what led to the change of heart and of direction.
Last month, Gauteng ANC branch collided head-on with national policy when it made its submissions to the e-toll review panel. Paul Mashatile lamented the negative impact that the user-pay system has had on motorists.
As a leadership of the ANC in Gauteng, we cannot be insensitive and inconsiderate to this sense of grievance of our members, supporters, and the wider community. This dissatisfaction with the policy choice made by our government is also reflected in the public pronouncement by other organizations allied to the African National Congress, such as COSATU in Gauteng and SANCO.
Key among the Gauteng ANC submissions was that the province is a national treasure that contributes greatly to the economy. They've argued that the cost of e-tolling is too high and interferes in the economic processes of the province.
Once tolling that comes in started affecting those roads, effectively you are tampering with the operation of the Gauteng economy. Because the ring roads are used by commuters in Gauteng, business people, almost many at times on a daily basis.
But further clarity is needed between both provincial and national structures.
I would want to say there is no policy contradictions between Gauteng and national. National is the sphere that makes policy, and at a level, if I have to use this platform to speak for that, at an ANC level, there is a policy-making process, which I would believe that the Gauteng ANC, in resolving in the way they had resolved, is going to go that route to engage with the other 8 provinces, lobby them if there is going to be a policy review, and be able to make sure that at the level of the ANC, which is the government of this country, they can be able to take the process through.
South Africa is a developing country, and the bulk of the country rely on the Gauteng province. So the management of, the policy development in relation to roads, infrastructure, it's a very, very delicate issue which needs to be balanced. In an economy which over 30% relies on one of the provinces, how people in that province view the cost in implementing a policy is very important.
Building trust and rectifying the mistakes of the past will be the linchpin on which the fate of Sanral rests.
With the issue around building trust, it's exactly this forum what we've got over here in terms of how we're trying to build trust in a very open and transparent manner of what we're doing over the last 3 days over here. extremely perturbing when we see headlines like this. Right?
However, the contradictory facts and the withholding of information does not lend itself to improve relations between SANRAL and Gauteng motorists. According to SANRAL's annual report for 2014, non-toll roads account for about 84% of the national road network and are funded from allocations made by the National Treasury, with an annual budget of 14 billion rand. And tolled roads making up 15% of the total national road network. These are funded from borrowings on capital markets. Each of these operations is funded separately, as there is no cross-subsidization of funds between the two portfolios. But SANRAL CEO Nazir Ali says their inability to repay their 20 billion rand loan, which they borrowed through secured bonds, could affect their credit rating.
A SANRAL will be reviewed later this month as well. We cannot afford to have another downgrade as SANRAL. The cost of borrowing is already increasing for us because of the external forces. If we get another downgrade, man, we're down into junk status.
Moody's changed SANRAL's outlook to stable from a previously negative outlook and affirmed its rating at Baa3. Besides, government has guaranteed 60% of SANRAL's total outstanding debt. This basically means that if SANRAL defaults on its payment, government will pay back 60% of its loan. SANRAL's total debt outstanding at 30 March 2014 is at 39.6 billion rand. This includes the 20 billion rand that was incurred from the Gauteng Freeway Improvement Project construction. Anti-e-toll groups argue a ring-fence fuel levy for Gauteng motorists is the answer, and have suggested that an extra 9 cents be added to the fuel levy, coupled with an increase in the vehicle licensing fee. There are 2.5 million motorists in Gauteng. The national fuel levy delivers around 44 billion rand. Of this, SANRAL gets almost 12 billion rand. The roads agency also received a 5 billion rand cushion from Treasury in 2013. But it seems this is nowhere near what SANRAL needs. In their presentation to the review panel, they argued that the alternative funding models would not generate sufficient funds to implement the GFIB.
That we work within a constrained budget, but the do-nothing is not an option for us because there are other dire consequences for us, whether it's in the form of congestion or whether it's in the form of a deteriorating road network. But the do-nothing, I'd like to believe the panel is at idem with me on this one, that is not an option.
To parliamentary questions earlier this year, Minister Peters said that more than R500 million in overdue fees has been transferred to their collection centre since the system went live in December last year. But less than 10% of this has been paid. With such dismal compliance rates, motorists buy into the user pay principle will be a further uphill battle for SANRAL. One thing remains clear: the review panel holds the heavy responsibility of coming up with recommendations that will be satisfactory to all sides of the e-tolling debate. Nozintombi Mia, SABC News.